everyone, so I am Goan, and today is the day where I share my coming out story. It started in high school when I was determined that I was not gay. Somebody had asked me and I said, no, I'm not. And it wasn't until college where I started questioning whether I was or not. But it wasn't until the end of my second year of college with my boyfriend when we broke up. And I also coincidentally was going to go to Beijing, China for a study abroad trip. So it was there in Beijing where I met my gay guru. She was the one who introduced me to her friend, who I just absolutely fell for. Head over heels, was willing to be vulnerable. So for me, I didn't really have any issue with am I queer? Am I okay with that? It was really just maybe I am. And I told some people, like my sister, who was really skeptical actually. So when I fell in love with this girl, I wanted to tell everyone that I was in love. I would finally experience this feeling where I just wanted to call her and hang out with her and be with her. I wanted to share this with my family actually. So whenever I shared it with my friends, people were like, oh, really? I didn't think that you were, but they were pretty much supportive, if not skeptical, being like, oh, you're probably going through a phase. And that was really annoying, including the chick who I had fallen in love with. Anyways, so I wanted to tell everyone, and this included my parents, but my sister had a good point that I shouldn't tell them because she was the one who's living at home, I was away, and if shit hits the fan, then she's the one who's dealing with it, like she does with a lot of the shit that I do, unfortunately. But one day I let it slip where my mom had said, so are you seeing anyone in China? And she had told me, don't bring any boyfriends home. She didn't say anything about girlfriends, haha. And I said, oh yeah, he's really great. And at that point, my sister was actually around, and she has a tendency to want to get me into trouble. She egged me on, and seeing that I had encouragement from my sister, I told my mom, hey mom, so I'm seeing this person, and this person's a girl, and she's really nice. And my mom, she was very surprised, and I don't think she was pleased. Unfortunately, so when I came out to my parents, they were not very supportive. I remember a lot of webcamming sessions with them when they would say very hurtful things. They would say very hurtful things. And basically what their thoughts were was that I had become sick. China had changed me for the worse. Somebody in China, a Chinese woman, had put a spell on me, somehow manipulated me. This was really difficult for me because I had wanted to tell my parents because I was really excited, and my thinking was that as long as I'm happy, then I think that they would be happy. So as long as I'm with someone who respects me and treats me well, and that I'm really excited to be with, that they would be happy for me. But I learned the hard way, and I'm glad that I learned it, that that's not the case. Or at least it wasn't the case yet. My dad originally was really mean about it. Really, really mean. I mean, after my dad got through that mean phase, he cooled off, and my mom really ramped it up. She, in the middle of the year, came to China to try and get me to come back home. She was really worried. And I had the director of the program talk to her, saying that, I'm a good student, and it would be really not beneficial, because there would be some sort of fine. So I got to stay for the whole year. So it was good when I came out because I was away from my parents. I didn't actually have to deal with a lot of the shit. On the flip side, I wasn't there, so my sister had to deal with it. There were a lot of things that I didn't or couldn't explain to my parents. And so how I'm dealing with it now is that my parents are pretty much okay with it. They are still really uncomfortable, but they're not saying any mean things anymore. But the thing is that they'd like to keep it on the down low, so they're not really comfortable with displays of affection between me and another woman. They don't want me to put things on Facebook that would hint at me being queer. They don't want other family members to know. They don't want people in the community to know. We're part of the Vietnamese community here, and the Vietnamese community is apparently still very conservative. So that was a really big downer, that I always have to watch my step, because I don't want my identity to negatively affect the people that I care about. So what really helped me through this whole process was having a really supportive community, supportive like friends. So that would be my sister, who's really supportive. My friend who studied abroad with me for a year was really supportive. She was there to hold me when I was crying. Really supportive, experienced girlfriend, first girlfriend. She had been through it. So she was definitely there to console and comfort me. And it was really fun hanging out with her. So that just really solidified my belief in my identity. Also, staying positive. So throughout this whole process, I had thought to my parents, like, I had thought about my parents and being like, I want to tell them this because I want them to know the real me. Like, should anybody die or anything, I don't want to lie. I also thought that I was doing them the favor, as in, like, because I'm gay and queer, then they will learn to be more compassionate or be more accepting of the world, to really test if what they say is what they really feel. So be positive. I looked up resources. Beijing has a LGBT center. Their lesbian Lala community is quite fantastic. Their Lala Center, lesbian center, is quite fantastic. Lots good support there. Coming back to the States, still really, it's really cool learning about everyone. And so my advice for all y'all, especially queer Vietnamese woman, Asian, queer, is to really hang in there. Because the thing that I love the most about being queer is just being queer. There's a lot of bullshit that goes with it. Dealing with external forces as well as my own internal issues. But at the end of the day, I know how I feel when I'm with someone that I really, really love, and it just happens to have and that person just happens to have a certain sex. I think now I'm not as unrealistically idealistic, where it's like I've accepted the fact that what I've gone through and what my parents have come from, where it's like, no, my parents don't only care about my happiness and well-being, or they do, but there are things that they feel would impede that, which is my queerness. I do have to count my blessings, though, because, I mean, they haven't kicked me out, they still feed me, and they're trying to understand, so I am very lucky in that sense, and my well wishes go out to those who are not as fortunate. For all of those who are struggling out there, I was there once. I was there when I was webcamming with my parents, and I looked out the window on the 6th floor and just thought, maybe I should just jump. And all I can say is, don't do it. Don't fucking do it, because then you won't have great lesbian or gay, whatever, queer sex. You'll miss out. So think of it as a debt to be paid. You pay now for shitty sex and shittiness and all the bullying or the teasing, and later you will gain the strength and wisdom to be a great, sexy person. I'm just kidding. No, life is really great. With how I plan to solve the problems that I have is to move away. I'd like to be in Oakland. I'd also like to be closer to my sister. That's my coming out story. I hope y'all enjoyed it, and thanks all for listening to my story.